Hey, morning guys, welcome to the Long Shot. We're out here on Sanctum 1791. We got our local April 25th, 2026 22 match this morning. Got the props set up. We're putting up some zero boards right now. Gonna bring you some match footage today. Hope you stick around.
Impact! Impact! Impact!
All right, this morning we're shooting the Elemental Industries Snapdragon. This is a 25-inch Lilja barrel. We have the MPA Vanquish chassis in red-black anodized. It's got the Matrix Pro competition, the lightweight stock on the back of it. We got a tracked torque on top. We're gonna try and run the trigger cam, and I have found a way to run the Send It Gen 1 off the crow's perch up here, all the way underneath, all the way to the back. So that way you can see whether you're level or not. We're running the Accutac FD4 on the front here as a primary choice, and we got the Alta Ace of Spades 15-round magazines. We shot the Sanctum 1791 precision rimfire match that I put on, hosted down there by Victor at Sanctum 1791. So moving into it, we already did kind of an overview on the rifle at the range itself. We also started off with a 50-yard Benchrest match that was there, and I definitely want to show that. So that was actually the winning score, the high score on the Benchrest match of a 226 out of a 250. And it really showcases what the wind was doing that day, because with this rifle, with this ammo, that is a one-hole gun at 50 yards, and there was some shots that were up to about 5 or 6 tenths off, just due to wind. And you see the targets move around, stuff like that as well. There was a lot more going on down there than we're typically used to. It's usually a pretty boxed in and sheltered range. What you don't see in this video is me and my son were sharing this rifle that day, and so we put about 300 rounds down on it. So it got pretty dirty towards the end, and ended up having a couple of feeding issues throughout the day, and that was just due to between me and my son sharing it, short stroking the bolt, and we got a lot of dirt on the face of the bolt, and it took me a while to realize it. I'm running some Alta Ace of Spades magazines, and I just got the magazines in, and I just got this red and black anodized chassis in compared to just a gray one that I had been using, and I had that one all situated out to shoot perfectly or feed perfectly. And with this one, it's still got some more stuff I had to do, but I kept assuming it was the magazine, and it was not, dirt on the face of the bolt. So there's a couple issues I had with that throughout the day, and I still need to do a little bit more tuning with that. So we started this match off at stage 6, the rooftop support. This is a big, small, big engagement. You had to go strong side, weak side, strong side again. So 9 shots, big, small, big at 80 yards. I forgot my big pump pillow that I normally use for a rooftop stage, so it was a little uncomfortable borrowing a slightly smaller bag that I was used to. You can kind of see that in the body position, as well as I think it's on the support side, the small target. You can tell my wobble zone is pretty big compared to what it usually is. Was still able to hold it inside of the plate, but it was not ideal. Moving on to stage 7, that's the benched prone troop line. We had a 1/2 inch at 35 yards. We had a 1 inch at 60 yards. We had a 6 inch at 170 and an 8 inch at 195. You had to go near to far, 2 shots each. Then you had to do a mag change and then come back far to near with 1 shot each. And this one, I didn't see the wind that was going on, and dropping 3, and it's the only 3 shots I dropped all day at the long range targets. And I just couldn't see what it was doing. I had a lot of wind on my card that I was anticipating for, and I remember adding a whole bunch, and I remember adding almost to 0, and just couldn't catch up with it. One thing that's specific about this that I'm noticing watching the trigger cam footage is with the trigger cam specifically, I'm breaking shots on long targets up towards the top of the plate. And I can tell you I definitely am not doing that, or that's not what I am seeing when I'm looking through the scope, is breaking it at the top. I try to be very specific about picking a very small target or a very small part on that target or on my reticle, you know, wind or whatever, to break that shot. And with these, I was noticing I was breaking it up in the upper third of the target. So I have a lot less forgiveness as far as, you know, your cone of fire or your wind at those ranges. And I think that was where the issue is coming from. I don't know what that's about. If you know anything about trigger cam and any issues that might cause, like, let me know. There's a few other stages I do that with as well. Moving on to stage 8, this is the tank trap big pan. It's 2 targets at 96 yards, and it was as wide as we could make them, and it was on a tank trap. So the key to this one is not setting your bag down and dragging your rifle from left to right on those bags. What it's going to do is it's going to saw your rifle through the bag, so where the point is coming through the bottom, and then you're going to have direct contact with the tank trap and the bottom of your rifle. And so the whole tip with that is either you want to set your bag up so it's right in between, or angled right in between those 2 targets. You can go corner to corner on both different directions and still be good. Just because I have so little fill in mine, I opted to run a plate bag on it, because then it wouldn't be a problem. I didn't have to worry about it, because it was just that little extra bit of soft that would stop that point from coming all the way through. You didn't have to do that. And on a tank trap, when you're sawing it around like that, you can actually kind of ball the bag up a little bit more than you normally would. And because it's a tank trap, the point is going to lay out flat like it would, but you'll have a little bit more meat, a little bit more sand in the middle to help cushion the rifle from that point of the tank trap coming all the way through. It was also interesting, the way the wind was coming basically straight down the middle of the range. So on the target on the left, I had to hold right, and on the target on the right, I had to hold left. So it was interesting, and if you watch, when I get on it, I'm not searching for the target. I know where the target is, and I just pause with my hand in the bolt. I'm looking for the mirage, and I'm looking to see, is it doing the same thing that I've already like registered and wrote down on my card for what my wind bracket is. And you can tell I wasn't holding a lot, but I was holding left and right on that stage. Moving on to stage 1 is ladder logic. This one's a little bit more of a memorization game. You had to shoot from the first position 1 left, 1 right. Second position was 2 in the center, and the third position was 2 left, 2 right, and then 2 center. So with that, all the targets were at 65 yards. They were pretty good size for all that. It was just more of a memorization of mental stage. And this is where I had all the feeding issues for the day. And it was a shaving of lead from one of the projectiles got stuck on the face of the bolt. And so there was just something on the face of the bolt, and the casing could not slide up all the way on it. And so I ended up swapping the mag back and forth, thinking it was the magazine. Unfortunately, I gave myself double issues by I also adjusted both of my magazines, assuming it was the magazine not tuned right, and it wasn't something on the face of the gun. So thankfully it was 120 seconds. There was a lot of time, but that was the one I had the most issues with. When I cleaned the face of the bolt out with that, and then tuned the magazines back to kind of where I started with originally after that, and it was a lot better.
post that video on YouTube. I don't know which way to tune the dang mags to.
Moving on to stage 2 is the tire stack. You had a 2.5 inch at 85 yards and a 4 inch at 110 yards, and you had 4 different tire available that you could shoot off of. The whole key was left and right. So whatever position you picked first, you had to then move right up, meaning you just couldn't start on the rightmost tire. So I was going to start on the tallest tire, but then I didn't really know how I felt about the ones on the right, so I opted to start on the tire on the far left, because then I could use any of the other ones and then see if I liked it and then move back and forth from there. I opted for tripod rear. You didn't really need it, but it was going to give me the assurance that I wasn't going to have the magazine touching the tire if where I wanted to put my bag was going to give me kind of like some low clearance issues. So it would eliminate that problem overall. And it was just practice. It was good practice. I don't like setting up stages that have to have tripod rear, but it is a good thing to practice. So I ran tripod rear on that one, and you had to go from the first position, near, far. Your second position was then far, near. So I did opted to dial for that one because it helped keep you honest on what position you were, because you only had to dial in the middle of each position, but then when you moved, you were already set up for your first shot on that next one. So you could always look up at your turret and see, were you on the far target or were you on the near target, to keep you on the correct one. It wasn't too bad as far as stability, but that is one of the ones that you notice. I think I hold up to a 0.2 mil difference in wind between starting the stage and ending the stage, just due to the mirage conditions. So it's a really cool one to watch, because you can see me, I get sort of on target. It's a lot harder to see through the trigger cam than it is with me in real life. I'm not looking at the target, I'm looking past the target at the mirage conditions. I don't really care what the reticle's doing if it's moving around. I'm looking at the mirage on the back side of it to see, is it doing more or is it doing less? And you can see where those, this is my mirage fingers. You get the mirage would kind of come up like this, and it would lay down farther. And when it would lay down farther is when I'd hold more wind. So it's a pretty good example of just seeing what I am looking for when I get on the gun. I'm not searching for the target. I know where the target is. I've dropped the rifle right on where the target is. But this is my chance to watch that mirage in the background. Is it more? Is it less? Is it the same? And then what am I going to do to adjust for that? And that's all written down on whatever my data card is. Example, I just put, you know, a piece of tape or something on the side, and that's on the side of the gun, so I can look at my wind bracket. If I think the wind's picked up to X number of mile an hour, now I can hold that same number for both targets. Moving on to stage 3 is the Snoopy's Doghouse. This is a 5 inch at 140 yards and a full-size IPSC at 195, but it's a holdover stage. So you had 5 positions, you could not repeat the positions, and you had to hold over for the far target. On my rifle, it was a 2.9 mil elevation difference between the two. I wanted to be a more dramatic change between them, but I made the far target really, really big, because I'm anticipating somebody to show up with like a duplex reticle or a second focal plane or something like that with a BDC, and they could still make that holdover shot on the far one. But you did have to remember to do it, and it was a lot more of a holdover than most people, including me, are used to doing. So it was good practice with that. I had anticipated starting low like I generally do at the most stable position and then working my way over. And I was going to shoot the right side of the roof initially, and when I got to the top right of the roof, I didn't like it. And so that's why I decided to go all the way back over the top to the bottom left side of the roof to finish it out. And again, you can see me pausing on the first target especially to see, is the wind still doing what I think it is? What's that mirage look like? And I just take mental references of what that's doing.
Impact! 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 Nice, perfect elevation on that shot.
All right, moving on to stage 4 is the PRS barricade. I think I dialed 0.1 left for wind for this stage, if I remember right, and I was just trying to run it good and fast. The targets were pretty wide or far apart from each other. So just notice that they're still really fast. NPA checks. I'm still settling the gun. I'm still leveling the gun. I'm just doing it really, really fast, and there's not really a pause where most of the time I'll get on target and there'll be that pause before I'll break the shot. And that's just showing you that this is as stable as it can get or whatever. I'm just accelerating that process to break that shot as quick as I can. And I think it was on the second or the third position, there was one that you almost like, I watching the video, I was like, oh, I'm about to break the shot, this is about to be a bad one. But I realized I was not where I was supposed to be. It did not feel right, and so I resettled the gun, and it made that small adjustment and then broke a shot dead center where it's supposed to be. I think there was one I broke just a little bit further left than I wanted it to be, but it was one of those ones I knew it was acceptable enough, but it's not what you should be doing. But still a pretty good run, and had 2 slight feeding issues. I don't know what that case was that got just stuck there. The bolt was run like it was supposed to, probably just due to it being dirty. It was about 270 rounds at this point that day. Moving over to stage 5 is the barrels of fun. You have a coyote at 105 yards, you have a bobcat at 115, and you have a bear at 125. Moving right into it, notice as soon as I put my rifle on the barrel, and it bounces. And as soon as it bounces, I realize that's not going to be a very stable position. You're going to see that in your reticle. It's going to look like heartbeat when you're just bouncing around. So I immediately move it towards the right side. So from the first position, you had to engage the near, middle, and then the far target in that order. Change positions, now you're going to go middle, far, near. Change position again, you're going to go far, near, middle. So a little bit of a mental stage is how to go through that data, memorize your positions, your order, and then have to follow through with whatever your card is. So because I was going to have to reference my card anyways for a holdover or whatnot, I decided I was going to dial this stage, and I just labeled them on my turret as far, middle, near, etc. And so it was a lot of dialing, but it kept me on track with what I just shot last, and then writing it down on your card what that order is based on what position you're in, okay? And then something else I noticed is I was trending high on this. I hadn't actually adjusted my speeds in a couple of stages, so I assumed that's what it was doing. But I noticed I was trending a little bit high. I was up towards the hanger, so I was holding down towards about the belly of the animal targets as we were going out. And so that was an adjustment I made just based on what I was seeing. As far as left and right, they were pretty centered. I just checked from the Mirage. I was way more interested in making sure I wasn't going to screw up the firing order. You know, so overall, guys, that was the match. I hope you enjoyed the footage. I actually got all the stages this time, and let me know if you're looking for anything specific in the future to cover, to go over. I enjoy putting these matches on. This is out in Holly Ridge, North Carolina at Sanctum 1791. We try and do that monthly down there. It's supposed to be very new shooter friendly, and we like seeing the new shooters out there. Thanks for watching, guys. Again, Peter at The Long Shot.